Morning YouTube. It is July the 6th, early in the morning. As you can see, the sun's not quite shining on us down here yet. I initially come down here to, and I will later, I'm going to service these two cats that I'm going to run later on today, namely the V6 and the old, where is it? It's the Armstrong cat. I'm going to have both of them started, but before I do that, I'm going to change the oils in all three cats of the pony motors. Time to change them all, might as well do them all at once. Anyway, meanwhile, I'm down here, in behind me here is the 1936 Autopatrol number 11. I figured I'd better do a detailed walk around, just revealing how much work it's going to take to get this old beast running, and not that it's all going to get accomplished. It's just going to get running and do a little bit of work that I got to do once in a while, and that'll be it, unless I really get ambitious, because this is a lot of work. Starting off at the front, it's got a nice matching pair of I think they're 900 by 20s. Look like old truck tires coming out of the late 60s, early 70s. I can remember that tread pattern quite well on 1 and 2 ton trucks. It's got split rims, which is not really a bother to me. I can deal with those as it comes, but these are aired up like I picked it up the other day, or a couple of weeks ago, and they're going to be just fine. Are they in bad shape? Yeah. But they're holding air, so they'll continue to be on there until they blow out. Big problem right away is this steering arm. You can see that it's been repaired and bent multiple times, so I don't know if I'll need to get after that. It would be better if it was straightened out and aligned properly. Another problem at the front end here, this framework that holds the axle true to the frame. Down there's a pivoting pin and arms going to each corner of the axle. The frame for the blade, the moldboard, that sliding ball joint thing has worked so bad that it's worn out. It's hanging down 2 inches. So I think it actually did some damage to that steering arm, and you can see there's the remnants of a bar, a flat bar that came back and landed here. So they cut that right out instead of fixed anything. So, and then this big framework here broke out, so they just gusseted it, both sides. So we'll see as it goes what we have to do to fix that up. On the front end of the frame here, this here whole channel iron has been heaved out and cracked along here and at the bottom. And that's because it filled with water over the years and froze. And of course, once it freezes and splits the welding, now it's got a way to drain. I don't think I'm going to bother trying to bend that back into shape. It'll never look true unless you cut it right out and replaced it, but I think it's just going to be fine the way it is. I'll probably make a drain hole in the corner on both sides, and then just go ahead and put a bead of welding over on those cracked areas. Moving back to the circle, this lifting jack somehow got bent on the end, but I don't think it interferes with the operation of it. We'll see if we can turn. You can probably see the screw jack in this area is going up, so that mechanism is free. The knuckle joints, they're loose, but I'm just going to grease them up really well, make sure all 4 corners take a bit of grease. And I already turned all 4 of these shafts. They all turn and they all do their function. This one here is missing a drive, like a shaft or anything. It's an extra. It didn't have the feature on here. I imagine it's still raise and lower the scare fire. Moving back to the cab, the front end is in really good condition, good glass. Nothing is broken on the front facing. It's missing the latch down assembly on this arm that pushes the windshield out, but should be able to figure out something easy enough to latch that down so as it's solid. But over on the sides here, both doors are in rough shape, and it's missing all the glass out of both doors. The frame of the doors are busted, rotted. Some are still in there, they're beside the seat or whatever, but if I can find somebody that's a good cabinet maker, could probably whip me up a couple of pairs of doors out of new wood, and we'll put some glass in each one of those areas where it's been made to put glass in. Moving inside, the transmission actually shifts. All those control levers, they work back and forth. The starting and the throttle mechanisms here on the, what do we call this here, pedestal affair with the gauges, and they are really nice gauges. They're dirty right now, but they're not broken and they look like they function. There's a starter switch up here for the pony motor, of which we'll get into later. Light switch here that actually works. So that's not too bad, but we're going to have a lot of work just freeing up those mechanical levers up there, the ratcheting devices. Moving to the back of the cab, same thing. The glass is missing and the wood is in really rough shape, so it needs to be replaced. And I don't know if these panels right here were ever glass. I think they were, but now they're metal. The bottom ones are filled in with sheets of metal, but it looks factory actually when I'm looking at it. Both sides of the machine has a light pillar like this. It's been bent up, obviously, maybe chains hit it or mud on the tires or whatever, who knows. But it's been bent up, both of them have. This one is missing the light, the other one has the light. But yeah, they made them pretty rugged. You would think they would just put the lights up on the corners of the cab, but anyway, they're back here, and they were 6-volt lights. The 4 back tires, actually the 3 back tires are pretty rough. This one here is actually holding air. That's the one that was on it when I picked up the machine. This one did have air in it, but it blew up loading the machine. It went flat, so it rode on the trailer flat. And then the rim is rotted or pretty much damaged there. I think I can repair it, straighten it out, fill in. There's a couple of pinholes in the rim. So we'll just fill it up with welding, grind her off. And I do have a tire that I found for this corner yesterday, actually. Neighbor friend of mine up here at in town at the cusp there, he's got way more machines than I got laying around of this vintage and way more rubber, and he's got a spare tire that's going to fit this, a 14 by 24, which are oversized. I believe that this had maximum 12 by 24, but probably down at the 1000 24s. They're oversized, I can tell, because on this pivot area here, it's a good thing these are worn out because they rub on the edge of this domed casting. At the back of the machine, the bumper is actually in pretty good shape. Currently right now I got this corner jacked up and blocked up because I'm going to remove this tire here sometime here in the near future. We got a pretty nice old toolbox back here, and it does have the crank that goes here to turn the diesel over. You don't start it with that, you just turn it over to do any work with it, like timing or whatever you're doing. Turn it over for valve lash adjustments, etc. like that. And I do have the crank for this, which is the shaft that goes in and turns over the pony motor. This is a hand start pony motor. There is no electric on it, so it has to be hand started. Currently the mag's off. I got it rebuilt. You'll probably see that if you look back on some of my videos. You'll see that I got that mag, the cap, all re-glued together, and kind of made some custom pieces there to fill in the broken parts that are missing in the cap. But I think it does fire. It works pretty good. So when it's time, we'll just put it back in place. Moving over to the opposite side, you can see this here tire we're looking at directly is got a friend of mine from Fruitvale brought it up to me, and it's in actually pretty good shape. It's actually worn out, but that's all right. It's not all cracked up and looking like it's going to blow at any second. So I think for as long as I'm running the machine, that's going to be plenty good. Same thing down here. Tires are oversized, or they're wearing on that domed casting. This tire over here is what I got with the machine. Looks like it's been probably in a previous life on a machine that they repainted. I don't know if it was on this machine or not, but the rubber does have yellow paint in it. Moving above here, we do have another light fixture. Heavy duty 6-volt assembly there. Still has the wiring on it. And this here little light, I believe, would have had a red lens on it, and it's even got a license plate. It's all broken out and gone away, but a license plate light. So I don't know if it started out its life as a light on this machine or an old pickup truck or whatever, but that's what we're got right now. And again, this here is bent up because of tires maybe flexing, maybe went up that high and tagged it, rolls it up. The door on this side is the same as the other side, missing most of the pieces. The glass is gone, and I notice right now that the latch is actually gone. Maybe it's on a piece of wood that's in behind the seat, like the door latch. Hopefully that's saved, because that'd be a pretty hard item to get a hold of. Inside the cab, the old seat fared pretty well. It's pretty much rotted and whatnot, but it's not opened up right down to the springs. A couple of bad spots here, but it's way more comfortable than most of the seats I get with my old machines. Moving underneath at the front here, the moldboard somehow took a pretty big hit right here. This is a linear crack, kind of rolls up from bottom to top. So something happened there. They had to weld that back together. There's been some fixing on the moldboard and the circle assembly here. This has all been welded up, brutalized, torn apart, re-welded back on. And so it's been having some abuse, that's for sure. On this channel iron, you can just barely see the old Caterpillar logo, bold font. Looks pretty awesome, actually. On this side at the front, down toward the nose, it never got full of water, and it never got frozen and burst apart, so it's in good shape. Okay, covering the motor, everything is seized up. All the arms there to engage the pony and clutch mechanism and so on and so forth, all seized up. I did pull this here tappet cover off, and it actually looks fairly clean in there. Not a really heavy buildup of rust. I opened up this petcock and it drained out all water. Trace of oil. I have not opened up these drains down here, of which I'll do just to see if there's any oil at all in there, but this pony motor is locked right up. Interesting to note, And I believe that this is not the original power unit, and one of the reasons I believe it's not original is the grader is actually wired up for lights, and it has a light switch and so on and so forth, and an amp gauge on that dash. So that would mean that there's a generator, but there was no generator on this engine. And this off-colored casting, amazingly, I had in my tickle trunk. I never did know what it was for. Apparently it's for the D6600 diesel to go on top of that big housing here, and the generator would ride up in there. But this engine never did have it. The cap that I took off of there was, well, just aged like these bolts, etc. Like, they haven't been off for many years, I think, to this factory with no generator on this engine. So I'm thinking this is not the original engine, and I'm not even sure if they would have had this particular engine in here. They would have had maybe a D4400 or a D3400 out of a D2 or a D4, I believe. This is the serial number of the engine, which is an 8G97SP, and it does not match the chassis. I don't know if the engine serial numbers in the graders were supposed to match the chassis. They do in the crawler equipment, so I'm just assuming that the engine serial number would match the chassis number. That's another one of the reasons why I believe this here particular machine has been repowered with a separate engine. The chassis number is the 7G152. If anybody out there knows for sure, they can make a comment. If the engine is supposed to match the chassis number, just let me know. So I'm thinking the whole engine, the whole radiator, everything, fuel tank is original, but the engine, I think, has been put into this machine. Not sure on that. To make it fit down here on the back of the toolbox, they cut out the toolbox at the front, and the lid has been bent down, and that's been modified a few times now. Is that been modified to accommodate this engine? Not sure on that, but that's what I believe anyway. This is not the original power plant to this grader. Primarily because I can't find any evidence of it having a generator originally mounted onto it to run the lights, etc., that it's was wired up to do. On top of it, this is a crank only pony. It does not have the housing with a starter motor in it to have electric starting, and I don't believe there's room in here. I'd got other ponies with the housing, but it's like 3 inches longer than this. I don't think it'll fit in that area. And there is on the dash, there is a push button to hit the starter. There's a starter button on the dash.